this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts with day 8 of my Christmas card challenge. I realised yesterday I haven't done much of stamping yet in my challenge, so today I thought I'd get my Lavinia stamps out, some of which I have purchased recently and haven't used yet, so according to my motto, I'm going to use my stash. I thought I'm going to do that today. And this is inspired by a recent video of Lavinia stamps where Tracy Dutton created a wreath with some mini stamps, some of which I do have. This is the mini holly, this is the leaf 1 mini, and this is the mini leaf 5. Sorry, this is the mini berries, that's the mini leaf 5. And I also recently purchased this owl stamp, which I thought was rather cute, so he will sit here in the middle of the wreath. And then to decorate the bottom, I don't have any Lavinia script stamps, so I'm just going to use another one of the seasonal greetings from Woodware, but I checked this and they unfortunately are not available anymore, but you might find something similar. I'm going to use it as a background stamp anyway. And then I'm going to use a greeting, a sentiment from this stamp set that came with the magazine last year, which is saying wishing you a magical Christmas, which I thought would be nice to go with these. But if you don't have any Lavinia stamps, any foliage stamps would work, any animal stamps to go with this. You don't really need the Lavinia stamps. So one thing I've already prepared is I have cut my base, which is slightly smaller than 6x4. I want to keep this small today, but you can do this on a bigger scale if you wanted to. And I've cut myself a little piece of scrap cardstock in a circle to use this as a mask and to give me some guidance for the wreath. So I'm using these brushes. Anything you like to use for your ink blending is fine. And I've got a mix of Lavinia inks, the Elements range, but I've also got some Distress Oxide. Again, any inks that are fine for ink blending and stamping are fine. So I've got some scrap paper here on the side. I know this one is rather dry, but that's fine by me because, as I said, I only want it for some guidance. So I start in the middle of the circle and then work my way around the edge. And it looks like it's nothing at the moment, but when I will take it off, you can see where the ink has remained. Just blend it out towards the edges. And you can take this off and there you can see the difference. So this will give me good guidance where to actually stamp. The reason why I have actually got the Mowed Lawn here is because I knew this was getting dry. So I'm going to use the Mowed Lawn, and I've got the Mermaid for stamping. So put this away. Got a blue brush here. I'm not sure yet whether I will use that, maybe at the bottom. So, and now all you do is you take the individual stamps and, oh, I did forget to mention, I've got a mat here, which is not a craft mat, it's a kitchen mat actually for baking, and I just cut this down to size. I researched this online and people said it was much cheaper than actually buying a craft mat, and it is. And it's quite nice to have this to keep your paper down when you need to, but you can also move it around, which helps now with the stamping. So always test them on the side. And if you haven't heard about this before, it's good to do some first generation and second generation stamping. So you press it down once and then you press it down again. And this ink pad is rather juicy. So alternate the where you put this down, so just don't make it just in one direction. And you don't have to put these as close as I do, but I just want to start with a good base of this. So coming in with the holly now, and I'm going to choose a different colour for this just to set this off. I don't have many ink pads, so I'm a bit limited to these colours. If you've got different greens, that's fine. This one's more of a bluish one, so yeah, I will go for the first generation of this. Actually, see, I've just taken it over. It's easier to turn it around without the mat. So I think that'll be enough. And then now to decide which ink to use for this. I think I will go in with a bit of the Merlot. Have a look how that goes. Yeah, I think that's fine. Maybe even in the second generation. Yeah, I'll go in the second generation. So stamp it off on your scrap paper and just go on like this. It's really up to you what you like to do, what appeals to you. So I'm going to do a last round with the mini berries, and I'm going to use my red ink, which is the paprika, but as I said, any brand will do. Yeah, and that's fine in the first generation. You see, slowly but surely you build up the wreath and get a very full wreath there with lots of foliage. Just have a quick look when you think you're finished. If you need a bit more, I feel there's a bit missing there. And probably taking this one again. Yes, that'll do me. So the other thing you can do is cascade some of the foliage on the edges, and I think I will do that as well, just to keep in theme with the Christmas. I will use the holly, but I'm just doing a second generation. So I'll probably do it in a different colour straight afterwards. So basically, as if this was floating out from there. I'm going to do it like this, and then without cleaning it off, that'll be fine here. Just stamp it off lightly. Don't worry if it's not very evenly stamped. I could have pressed it down a bit more. I think what I'll do is I'll just rescue this by just going over with a berry. There you go, and nobody will know that this was not intentional. There we go. So what you then can do if you wanted to is to ink blend a bit in the middle, and I think I'll do that. I'll just check my brush and see if there's any ink on it. That will probably be enough just to take off the white a bit. And you can also use the same then to come in a bit from the edges. And the blue goes nice with the bluish green with the mermaid. There we go. So now I'm going to stamp my owl. I haven't used that stamp before, so I did wipe it with my fingers before, and it's important that you stamp it off before to make sure it is a solid one. And I don't know if you can see this, it's not solid yet, especially with these silhouette stamps. You want them to be solid. You can always rescue it if it's not, but it's best to prepare it thoroughly. So he's going to sit right here. See if I can get him at a right angle. You press this down and you hold it in place. Sorry if I keep my fingers in the way. Sometimes get carried away crafting and forget about the camera. There we go. If you should ever have not a solid ink, you can just take a brush, dip it into your ink and fill it in, or use a different pen, but make sure it's not too shiny. So you can see he's floating a bit here, so all we need to do is just give him a bit of a base. We just take a bit of scrap paper and taking my green ink blending brush, going to fill that up a bit again on the scrap paper, make sure it's not too heavy, and I'm just covering his feet a bit. Just take this off a bit more. And just lightly ink at the bottom. And again, like before, you don't see much, but once you take it off, he's actually sitting on a bit of green there. So all that's left to do now is do the sentiments at the bottom and the script. I'm going to use this without a acrylic block because I want this to be rather random, and I also want to stamp this off quite a few times. I'm going to use, actually, I'm not going to use the VersaFine. I'm going to use the black soot, which I think is a bit lighter. So, as you see, it's stuck to my fingers because all I want is really just to have just a hint of script. And all you have now is sort of many magical moments, it says. So, again, stamp it off. I'm going to turn this upside down because this is just supposed to be a background. And you can then do some third generation, fourth generation stamping. I've lost count. It's still going. Do a bit on the top so it ties in with the bottom. There we go. Now I'm taking my main sentiment and going to stamp that in the VersaFine. There we go. So now some finishing touches to this. I brought out my Artistro glitter pens. So I just want to add some, actually we'll colour in berries of the holly, especially here where they're not covering the green, where they're exposed. Almost a bit hidden here in some places. So then I'm going to use my white gel pen. Sure. Can also use a Posca pen. I'm going to put in some highlights on the berries. Sometimes this doesn't work as well as I like it to. Just try my other one. Yeah, that's a bit better. And these little finishing touches, they do make a difference in the end, because they give them a bit more, give the images a bit more dimension. You can also use them on the leaves here. You can also use a sparkle pen, the Wink of Stella, or I've got the Spectrum NARS sparkle. I might just add a bit on the leaves. It will be very subtle, but when the recipient holds up the card, they'll be able to see it. I think I'm going to add a few more dots with my silver pen. And there we go. If you can see the silver pen, but it sparkles nicely and it ties the whole motif in. Okay, so this is, I'm going to mount this on a card then, and I'm going to show you in this thumbnail what it's going to look like when it's finished. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you would like to subscribe to my channel to see many more of my videos, you can do that as well, and I'd be very happy about that. Thank you very much for watching. See you tomorrow with day 9 of my Christmas card challenge.